Hello everyone, Mr. Octogonal here. Now today we have another Madden 20 rebuild as we will be rebuilding the Tennessee Titans. Just so everyone knows, this will be an unrealistic rebuild so we can make all the trades and do all the wacky moves that we want. If you want to see realistic rebuilds, I have realistically rebuilt the Dolphins, Giants, and Cardinals and expect plenty more on the way. So here's a look at the Titans roster. Quarterback is a huge question mark for this team. They have Marcus Mariota, who I'm an Oregon fan. I love me some Mariota, but he's only a 79 overall, so he's definitely a question mark. We're going to hold on to him for now and see how he does. Running back, we're definitely going to be starting Derrick Henry. He is young and talented. However, I don't know if I want to build around him. That is because I recently recorded a realistic rebuild for the Titans. I'm not uploading it because it didn't go well, and Derrick Henry did not develop very well. So that's sort of why I'm not sold on him. Corey Davis is only 24 years old, 82 overall. He's likely going to stick around for the rest of the rebuild. Former top 5 pick out of Western Michigan. There is some talent at the wide receiver position on this team. Adam Humphries, Tajay Sharp, Tywan Taylor. But the guy I'm really excited about is A.J. Brown. In that realistic rebuild I recorded, I got him up to like a 92 overall with Superstar X Factor. So we're going to play him at the slot and make him as good as possible. And I really like A.J. Brown in real life as well. I gave him a first-round grade. He was my number 2 receiver in the class. And I think he's going to make a big impact for this Titans team early on. Looking at tight end, Delanie Walker is great. In my opinion, a top 3 tight end in football. But he is 35 years old, and we're obviously not going to build around him. But behind him, there is a very intriguing player in Jonnu Smith. I guess I didn't highlight him just now. The offensive line is solid. Jack Conklin, Roger Saffold, Taylor Lewan are all pretty good. Now, I feel like Lewan should be way higher than an 80, and he's already 28 years old. And in the realistic rebuild I recorded, he regressed really quickly. So while if his rating was more accurate than it should be, I would look to build around him, but we're probably not. Looking at the defense, Jarrell Casey, the only superstar development player on this team. He is great, but he's 29, so he's a we'll see. And then on the other side of the defensive line, we have the rookie, Jeffrey Simmons. Pre-existing injuries are off, so he will get to play, and hopefully he develops. Looking at the linebacking core, Cameron Wake is an old man. He's great, but we're going to look to trade him. Maybe we start someone like DeAndre Walker, rookie out of Georgia. Looking at middle linebacker, Jayon Brown, decent. Wesley Woodyard, Rashaan Evans, I probably want to build around. And another guy I'd love to build around is Harold Landry, the young pass rusher out of Boston College. I really thought my Lions were going to pick him last year. I'm surprised he fell to the second round. I thought we were going to pick him at 20. Looking at the secondary, Adoree Jackson, 23 years old. He's good for the rest of the rebuild. Malcolm Butler, Logan Ryan, neither of them are too crazy. Kenny Vaccaro, same thing. But Kevin Byard, he's definitely sticking around without a doubt. One of the best ball hawking safeties in all of football. As the Titans really got themselves a gem with Byard, who got the big bucks. And he deserves it. He has been incredible for them the past few years. So now on to our trades. As the first one, Cameron Wake, a third, and LeSean Sims will get as a first from the Bengals. I don't think they'll be very good. Wesley Woodyard, Ryan Tannehill, and Logan Ryan will get his Jabril Peppers. He can play corner as well as safety, and he's now on my OFL team, so that's cool. Welcome aboard to the squad, Mr. Peppers. Next up, Delanie Walker, Kenny Vaccaro, and Malcolm Butler will get his Christian McCaffrey. He's quite easy to trade for, so I'll take it. Welcome aboard, Christian McCaffrey. He'll be a nasty duo with Derrick Henry. Next up, we will be sending Taylor Lewan and Austin Johnson to the Vikings for their first and their second round pick this year. For the past few years, the Vikings have been really bad in sim for whatever reason, so that's definitely an easy deal for us. Adam Humphries, Dion Lewis, and a fifth will get as a first round pick from the Broncos. The Broncos are one of the worst teams in the league, so I'll definitely take that. Ben Jones, Kemale Correa, and Tajay Sharp will get his Devin White. He's quite easy to trade for, and like Peppers, he's also on my OFL team, so that's cool. Note, I did record this before the OFL Draft, which, by the way, will be live today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the OFL channel if you want to check it out. So that'll do it here for the trading. Here's a look at the team headed into season number 1. Not very good, but we have picks, and we have some young guys who can develop. I would say this is definitely a bottom-tier team without a doubt, but it could be worse. I would say the Dolphins and the Giants are worse than us, so I guess we have that. maybe the Bucks as well. So we obviously don't make the playoffs, finishing 5-11, which is about what I expected. I'd say that's fair. Looking at stats, Marcus Mariota was pretty much average. He wasn't terrible, but obviously if we want to win a Super Bowl, he's going to need to play better. McCaffrey was kind of disappointing, but I do think he probably should have gotten more touches. Corey Brown was excellent. So is A.J. Brown. It's so easy to win Offensive Rookie of the Year in the AFC. So A.J. Brown should have that locked up. Offensive line was not very good defensively. Devin White, 134 tackles. TFL, 16 for Jarrell Casey. He also had 8 sacks, 6.5 for the second-year man, Harold Landry. And then interceptions, 5 for Kevin Byard, 2 for Adoree Jackson, Jabril Peppers, and Michael Jordan. Would you look at that, MJ, coming out of retirement to play a third sport. So looking at the yearly awards, MVP went to Drew Brees of the 9-7 New Orleans Saints, no Titans. Coach of the Year went to Matt Nagy again. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Kareem Hunt. No Titans. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Myles Garrett. No Titans. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to A.J. Brown. Very good to see. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Devin White. As long as you get a lot of tackles, you should easily be able to win the award. So, here's a look at the skill points. We have plenty, which is very good to see the young guys developing and progressing. So here's a look at the team headed into the offseason. Unfortunately, no one got a depth chart increase on offense, and then the only one on defense was Jarrell Casey, who's now a superstar X Factor. But Casey's now 30 years old, so I'm not really sold on keeping him. So I would have preferred if that went to like Devin White or Adoree Jackson, someone who would be voting around. So we're going to re-sign Jack Conklin. I think that's a little bit too much money, but we could always trade him. Derrick Henry, likely trade bait, but he could always be good depth behind McCaffrey. Mariota, I'm only going to give a 1-year deal to. I'm not paying him 5 years. He's going to say no. So the franchise tag is only about $4 million more, so I'm definitely going to be doing that. And Marcus Mariota is back with our Tennessee Titans. So on a free agency, we got the usual suspects: Hunt, Fuller, Ngakoue, Jack, Darby, Aguilar, pretty much everyone who you usually see in here. So we're going to go after Kendall Fuller, Mike Hilton, and Zach Brown. Brown will be trade bait, but the other two I will keep because we could really use some cornerbacks. And believe it or not, all 3 of them ended up accepting. So Mike Hilton, Kendall Fuller, and Zach Brown, welcome to the Tennessee Titans. I guess Zach Brown, it won't be for long, but at least you're here, I guess. So on a draft, we have picks 2, 3, 8, and 14 in the first round. We're not using the real-life draft classes because it's an unrealistic rebuild. The quarterback class sucks, so that kind of sucks. I would have loved to drafted a quarterback, but oh well, we can stick it out with Mariota. So with the second pick, we're going to go with wide receiver Carlos Crosby out of I almost said Ohio State. Out of Oregon State. You know I like the Ducks, so that pick kind of hurts. But he is a 76 overall with star development, so I'm not complaining. That is a really good pick, and he should pair up very well with Corey Davis and A.J. Brown. With pick 3, we're going to go with Jakari Murphy. I plan on moving to a 4-3 scheme, and he will be a defensive tackle along with Jeffrey Simmons. So welcome to the team, Jakari Murphy out of Arizona. He looks insane. Phenomenal combine. Very solid top 3 skills. And he is only a 72 overall, but he does have superstar development. So that is absolutely huge for us. He will be very, very good at that D-tackle spot. And then with the 8th pick, we're going to go with Javonte McNeil. Looks like a really good pass rusher. Very solid combine outside of a 40-yard dash, which is fine. Looking at his size, we could very well put him as a defensive end in our 4-3 scheme. I think that makes sense. He is a 74 overall with superstar development. So 2 superstars, don't get to say that every day, so that is quite cool. And looking at his stats, I think we'll probably end up moving him to end unless we make a move. So welcome to the team, Mr. McNeil. So next up, drumroll please, we are making a trade. Jack Conklin a 6th and Dane Cruikshank. I know I butchered that. Will get us the 20th pick from the Buccaneers. There's a player I'm eyeing, but I don't want to pick him with our, 14th overall pick. Tyrod Taylor and Ryan Suckup will get a Shaq Mason from the Patriots. I know this doesn't involve any picks, but we do need some improvements on the offensive line, so welcome aboard, Mr. Mason. And then the trade after that would be Jayon Brown, a 4, and Nate Davis for Quentin Nelson. Want to continue to build the offensive line. We don't really need Jayon Brown anymore, since Evans will be the middle linebacker in our 4-3 scheme. And then pick 14 is headed to New England for a first and a third round pick next year. New England does not have a quarterback at the moment, so that's why that trade looks really good. And then the guy I wanted at pick 20 is still available, Sidney Maddox, a guard out of Notre Dame, and he is the best player in the draft. It says he's number 0, but that's because Madden is always drunk. 78 overall, only normal development, but he will be really good for us right off the jump, so I'm not too mad. And then we want to continue to improve the offensive line. We don't really have a spot for Daquan Jones anymore, so we'll be sending him to the Raiders straight up for Rodney Hudson. Zach Brown and a third will get us a first from the Cincinnati Bengals, so we steal them from their first round pick yet again. And then here's a look at the team headed into season number 2. I'd say this is a borderline playoff team. No clear holes on either side of the ball except for... Actually, we don't really have any at all. This team actually looks quite nice. Jarrell Casey is a 4-3 end, and then McNeil as a 4-3 outside linebacker. Those scheme fits are a little bit awkward for them. But other than that, I think for the most part, it's not going to be the end of the world. McNeil will get a bunch of tackles, and I don't think his development will be affected. If this was real life, it probably would be affected, but this is Madden. So we end up going 6-9-1, 69, baby. As on the year, Marcus Mariota was actually really good. Over 4,000 yards, only 9 interceptions. So that's definitely proving it to me for sure. McCaffrey was not very good, only 3 rushing touchdowns. Receiving, Carlos Crosby was great. We put him in the slot, really wanted to develop him, and I figured his development this year was probably a little bit more important than A.J. Brown, who actually played a little bit better than I expected, almost 700 yards. Looking at the offensive line, Antoine Atkinson allowed 21 sacks. He should not have been starting. He's a 57 overall. So my lazy self forgot to move Shaq Mason's position. So that 57 started at right tackle instead of Shaq Mason, which is quite annoying. On to the defense, Devin White once again leads in tackles with 114. TFLs would go to Jelante McNeil with 12. 11.5 sacks for Jarrell Casey, 6.5 for McNeil. So the two awkward scheme fits ended up being the top 2 in sacks for us. 3 picks for Peppers Hilton and Adoree Jackson, 1 for a number of other players. So Todd Gurley ends up winning the most valuable player. Marcus Mariota finishes in 10th. Sean McVay, Coach of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC, goes to Kareem Hunt of the 12-3-1 Colts. Miles Jack, now on the Ravens, wins Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to our man, Carlos Crosby. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year would end up going to Javonte McNeil. So through 2 seasons, we've won every Rookie of the Year award for our conference, so that's very good to see. On to re-signings, Christian McCaffrey has been disappointing, but we need him back. He will be sticking around on a $63 million deal. Jabril Peppers, 6 years, about $70 million. Safeties usually don't ask for that much money, but welcome back anyway. Corey Davis, 7 years, about $90 million. I'm paying everyone $70 million. I'm giving everyone 7 years because all of these contracts are backloaded. So that's why I'm doing it. Adoree Jackson gets a 7-year deal. Mariota, I'm only offering 1. He says no. The franchise tag is 35, and I will end up giving it to him once again. Jonnu Smith, I think that was 5 years, about $25 million. He is back on the squad, so welcome back, Mr. Smith. And on to free agency. We are pretty much broke. Free agency class isn't really great anyway. Season 2 free agency is always pretty lackluster. So we will be lowballing Richard Sherman and Marlon Mack. No one's really going after those guys. And I think Mack will definitely be good trade bait. And Sherman, maybe we keep him, maybe we don't. So to my surprise, Richard Sherman actually accepts after the first week of free agency. And then Marlon Mack accepts as well. Wasn't expecting to bring in both of them, but hey, I'm not complaining. So on to the draft, we end up with the 5th, 9th, and 12th picks in the first round, bunch of seconds and thirds. And as you can see, we have a quarterback here, Marco Esperanza, who looks incredible. Great top 3 skills, phenomenal combine. So do we go with him or Mariota? We'll find out soon, folks. So first, we're going to be making a trade. The 2 guys we signed at free agency, Sherman and Mack, along with a third will get us Khalil Mack from the Bears, who is on my OFL team. Jarrell Casey, a first and a third will get us Travis Kelce from the Chiefs. Jonnu Smith is cool, but Travis Kelce's the best tight end in football. Roger Saffold, a fourth, and another fourth will get us a second from the Broncos. I just wanted to clear his cap away because we weren't doing too well money-wise. Marcus Mariota, the fifth pick, and a 7 will get us DeForest Buckner. So we're going to try to get that rookie quarterback with the 9th pick. Jeffrey Simmons straight up for David DeCastro. We don't really need Simmons anymore because I do have a pretty big plan, and we could use an offensive lineman. So our guys available with the 9th pick, Marco Esperanza out of Wazoo, 75 overall with superstar development. So welcome to the Music City, Marco Esperanza. As flex on him, young sir. He will definitely be the starting quarterback right away. So we have an 86 overall team headed into Season 3, 97 offense, 89 defense, and I wish I put it on the Saints playbook because their playbook is so cheesy. But nonetheless, I am happy with the way our team looks. Only differences on offense are adding DeCastro, Travis Kelce, and then of course the quarterback. And then on defense, we added Khalil Mack, who is incredible in the sim. DeForest Buckner is now on the team. But for the most part, the squad is pretty similar. And we end up getting a first-round bye. So I guess having the new quarterback really switched this team around. We go 10-6, which doesn't usually get us a first-round bye, but I'm not really complaining. Marco Esperanza was incredible. 3rd in passing yards. He was great. Better than Mariota has been. So I'm not regretting that move one bit. McCaffrey over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns for Derrick Henry. A.J. Brown back in the slot, played really well. Davis and Crosby were both solid. Travis Kelce with 6 scores. Looking at the offensive line, Shaq Mason and Quentin Nelson each allowing 8 sacks. Only 1 allowed from David DeCastro. And then defensively, Devin White leads in tackles again. 21 TFLs for DeForest Buckner, 15 sacks for Khalil Mack, and then 4 interceptions for Jabril Peppers. So on to the awards. Todd Gurley wins back-to-back MVPs. Marco Esperanza finishes in 8th. Coach of the Year goes to Matt LaFleur of the 13-3 Packers, which makes me want to throw up. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Jacoby Brissett, who is back on the Patriots. Esperanza in 5th. CJ Mosley, Defensive Player of the Year, no Titans. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Marco Esperanza. So 3 straight Offensive Rookie of the Years. Unfortunately, we don't get another Defensive Rookie of the Year. That goes to Torrey Davidson of the Jaguars. So, in the playoffs, or before we get to the playoffs, here are the skill points. Esperanza has 8, so he will now be an 83 overall. He'll actually be a little bit higher with morale. So we're going to be playing the Patriots here in the second round. We now have a 99 overall offense. Esperanza is an 86 with a morale boost. And this team is locked and loaded, and we are ready to go. I think this team has a chance to win the Super Bowl this year. Definitely one of the most talented teams I've built in a rebuild. So, can we beat Madden's favorite player, Jacoby Brissett? And we do. 24-21. That is great to see. So now we're going to be taking on our divisional foe, the Indianapolis Colts, who have a 9-6-1 record. So we should certainly beat these guys. They were a wild card team. And sure enough, they would beat us, and they would end up defeating the Packers in the Super Bowl. So that's kind of unfortunate, as we lost in pretty close fashion, I believe. I think we only lost by like 7. Yes, 24-17. Luckily, they did beat the Packers, which makes me happy. You guys know that. So on to re-signings. Travis Kelce will decline our contract. David DeCastro, 4 years, 52. He is back, thank goodness. Quentin Nelson, 5 years, 74. He wants a lot of money since he's a tackle. He's back. Harold Landry wants a ton of money. I think it's worth it. He's back. Rashaan Evans, 4 years, 62. Welcome back to the team. And then Travis Kelce's franchise tag is only for $9 million, which is cheaper than what he would have gotten anyway. So we're obviously going to take that. I'm surprised the tight end tag is that low. So on to free agency. Leighton Vander Esch is always here. J.J. Watt doesn't have any bids. He is an enticing option. Josh Allen, the pass rusher, is in there, not the quarterback. So did the Jaguars just cut him? Because he has 4 years on his contract, and he would still have another one left. So I'm wondering why he's in there. If it was a realistic rebuild, I would definitely go after him. But since J.J. Watt is there, we're going to go with J.J. Watt. So here's a look at the team headed into season number 4. We did end up signing Mr. Watt. So Harold Landry will now be a backup, which is kind of weird. We paid him a lot of money, but it doesn't really matter, as we get another first-round bye, this time going 13-3. So we're probably the number 1 seed in the conference. Looking at the stats, Marco Esperanza threw 4 interceptions. He was, again, spectacular for us. Running the ball, Christian McCaffrey was very solid. Derrick Henry as well with 13 touchdowns. Travis Kelce led us in yards, Corey Davis and Crosby right behind him. Offensive line was really solid. This time, Rodney Hudson only allowed 1 sack, only 2 from DeCastro. Devin White once again led in tackles, 14 TFLs for Buckner, but look at these sack numbers. 20 for Khalil Mack, 11 for DeVaris Buckner, 10 for Javonte McNeil, who has still been playing at 4-3 outside linebacker, might I add, 8 for Rashaan Evans, and then interceptions, 5 for Devin White. He might have won Defensive Player of the Year, him or Mack. 3 for Adoree Jackson, 2 for Raphael Banks, whoever that is. So Jacoby Brissett wins MVP, only in Madden. Bill Burris in second, so I guess the Jaguars' Josh Allen isn't the only Josh Allen who's been replaced. Nick Mullins in 7th of the Chargers. Our quarterback finishes in 9th as we end up winning Coach of the Year, which is very cool. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Brissett. Esperanza finishes in 4th. Defensive Player of the Year goes to CJ Mosley. Devin White in 2nd. Khalil Mack in 4th. I think it should be Khalil Mack number 1. Devin White number 2. Totally not biased. Walt Ford wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Darren Lindsey on our team in 2nd. I have no clue who that is. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Damian Newton of the Miami Dolphins. So, on to the playoffs. We're going to be taking on Nick Mullins and the Los Angeles Chargers. They're only 9-7, but it's the Chargers, so who knows? Madden loves these guys. So, here's a look at the team headed into the postseason. Marco Esperanza now a 91. I can tell you right now, Marcus Mariota would not be a 91 overall right now. So, that move is looking really, really good. And then defensively as well, the D is looking very nice. I'm surprised pretty much no one is going up in depth straight this rebuild. Except for Jarrell Casey, and I think A.J. Brown went up to star, and that's literally it. So that's kind of unfortunate as we sim the divisional round, and we lose. Are you kidding? Nick Mullins beats us. What? So on to re-signings. I'm trying to bring back A.J. Brown, but we are in so much debt. So I pretty much have to end the rebuild now, because if last year's team can't win the Super Bowl, I don't think we can this year with losing guys like Kelce, Hudson, Devin White, A.J. Brown. So, definitely sort of a sour ending to the video. However, Titans fans, you have quite the future with this Marco Esperanza kid. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like button and subscribe. There will be a straw poll, and the link will be in the comments for the next team to rebuild. Also, make sure to come through to the OFL Draft. That will be live streamed on the Octogonal Football League YouTube channel at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, as always, have a good one.